Tiffany Chisler, she's awesome. And we are going to be learning, okay, how to operate everything, take your questions, switch between different platforms. So I do ask that everyone be patient. I want to give this a second. Of course, I forgot my glasses. So I'm guessing a lot of what I'm supposed to be looking at here. Can I please get a thumbs up here on TikTok? I see a lot of movement. So I'm assuming that means that you can hear me and see me all right. Can I get a thumbs up on Instagram as well? Hoping you can hear me and see me all right there. Instagram is always a bit hit or miss. So if you're having any trouble on Instagram, switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy or go to TikTok at Ask Ivy. All right. Welcome everyone on Facebook. We have Ivy Rivera, Psychic Medium, Ivy Angela Rivera pages on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome everyone. Not totally centered, but that's okay. All right, very good. We got a thumbs up here on Facebook and YouTube that you can hear me and see me all right. Greatly appreciated. All right. I forgot to turn on the AC. So like 2 seconds ago, I turned it on. And this house is like massive. So it's going to take a while for me to cool down. So you guys are just going to have to watch me schmutz here for a minute. Welcome, everyone. If you are just tuning in now, I was explaining that we have a brand new producer. We have Jill shadowing Tiffany, our brand new producer. So if we can all give Tiffany a hand, okay, and a warm welcome. She's going to be figuring out how to navigate all these different platforms tonight. She is on her own and figuring out how to take your questions and comments as well. Yay, Tiffany. All right, so we're very happy to have her aboard. And I do want to invite you guys to start posting your prayer and healing requests. And again, like always, we're taking questions and comments at the end of today's sermon. A couple quick announcements while we let people tune in here. Tiffany, you can just pop up whatever you have in order and I'll read off what you have. Okay, if you guys want to see what she's popping up on the screen, you could switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. All right, so we have Reiki training coming up, levels 1, 2, as well as masters. That's going to be September 2nd. You can register now, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com/events. Yusui Ryoho method. And I am back to in-person classes. I just posted some pictures from our last Reiki group. And it's just pretty fantastic, if I do say so myself. So you can come, you can take the class in person. You can also do the video download, like always, or online. Okay, so the last group I did, I had a bunch of people in person and people online. It's always awesome. All right, we also have coming up, same idea here, psychic mediumship course. Okay, the first time in like 4 years, we're back to in-person classes. So the psychic mediumship course registration is now open. We start October 12th. And if you want to take a stab at winning the raffle to get total 100% free ride, tuition, $2,100 value. Okay, you can get your raffle tickets online. You can also go register at psychicmediumshipcourse.com. The raffle is going to be drawn October 11th. All right, what else do we have going on, Tiffany? The Fredonia Farm Festival. If you want to come, have a good time with your friends, with your family, do some drinking, do some eating, do some shopping, and get a reading with me, you can check me out at the Fredonia Farm Festival, August 25th, 26th, 27th in the Barker Commons in Fredonia, New York. That's their downtown area. And you can pre-book a reading with me if you don't want to wing it and, take your shot at getting a walk-in, but walk-ins are welcome. If you want to pre-book with me at any of the events I'm about to talk about, you can go to ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com/events. I will also be Merit Winery. They always put on such amazing events. They are holding an event called September Fest. That's going to be September 9th and 10th. Okay, so I'll be there. Same idea. It's a big festival. The wine slushies and all that jazz live bands and stuff like that. So if you want to pre-book with me, go onto the website. Otherwise, you can do walk-ins. This is in Forestville, New York at Merritt Winery. I will also be, and this is the last one I'll announce so we can get into today's sermon. I will also be at Lewiston Harvest and Hops Festival, September 23rd and 24th from 10 to 5 on Center Street in Lewiston, New York. Okay, so they have a ton of stuff. I mean, that is a massive event. I did really, really well out there last year. And you've just got like a ton of vendors, yes, but also like a ton of food trucks, sample out different restaurants, wineries, breweries. That's the main focus, but I'll be out there doing readings. All right, so hope to see you guys there for that. I have a ton more going on, but you can go onto my website to check it out under events or on the calendar. Okay, looks like we're doing good. Welcome, Camille, Brittany, Melissa, Yolanda, Vanessa. Okay, awesome. Oh, it really is hot in here. Okay, so welcome, everyone. I am your pastor, Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk. This is Roots Revival Interfaith, where we believe in the three truths. That's numerology, astrology, and intuitive intelligence to lead you down your true path in life and to help you to heal and to build your character and integrity, ultimately allowing you to go out and help others as well. Today's sermon topic is Stop Abandoning Yourself, the Deprogramming Movement. Now, if you haven't already done so, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell if you want to be alerted to any time that I go live, and please do drop comments. It helps me out in the algorithm. At this point, you can start leaving your prayer and healing requests, and we're an interactive church. So at the end of today's sermon, I am going to be taking your questions and comments. So please do feel free to post, and please share your personal experiences in regards to today's topic. Okay, so stop abandoning yourself, the deprogramming movement. As we build the new world, right? We are in a time of revolution, a time of evolution. We are leaving behind the old. We've been in this process, I like to say, since around 2016, 2017, really started to pick up around 2019. We're definitely in it, okay, finally, at this point. But what we're seeing right now is a battle of the wills, right? So we're seeing temper tantrums from the old systems as they die out. Capitalism, the patriarchy, the church, okay? All the things are fighting hard to grab their power back, to try to take and hold everyone down, with them as they crumble. And while this new world is being rebuilt, we're seeing different phases of that building process. And what I've noticed a lot in the last, I want to say 8 or 9 months, is the deprogramming part of this process. And when Spirit brought this up to me the other day, that this should be a sermon topic, I was excited about this because I've noticed it in my personal life, with my students, with my clients, in the astrology, and in a lot of the classes, that I've taught on over the years. It's been coming up more and more. And so I think this is a really exciting point in the revolution to be in, because this is really where we're kind of cooking with gas. This is where really where we're starting to dig in deep, and we're starting to build a foundation that we can stand upon, right? You got to have a strong foundation in anything new you're building in your life, in your career, in your work. It doesn't matter what. And this is the one. So let's get into it. All right. What exactly are we deprogramming from? Before I break down the 5 different areas that we're deprogramming in the most, I'm not going to get to everything. I want to talk a little bit about the astrology behind it. So Reverend Christina Del Rey couldn't be with us tonight, our astrologer here at Roots Revival Interfaith, but she sent me some notes on why exactly the deprogramming phase is becoming such a hot topic right around this time, exactly what planetary movements and when, okay, are putting this into motion. So, number one, Pluto in Capricorn. This started around June 11th of 2023, and this will go until late November, okay, of 2024. Pluto in Capricorn is burning down the patriarchy, destroying it, okay, dismantling. 180 miles an hour. It's a good time to watch it happen. I'm enjoying it. You can, if you want to know more about that, we already did a video on this. We did a sermon, I want to say 3 months ago, maybe. So you could see our Pluto in Aquarius part 1 and part 2 sermons in the playlist here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. Number 2, she says Venus is in retrograde. A lot of you may be aware of that if you're even mildly into astrology, just because the Venus in retrograde is bringing back the exes and it's causing all kinds of, past issues to come to the surface, and it's resolving and revamping not only your relationships, but also your money. Okay. So everyone's a little bit aware, right? At least that Venus is in retrograde. Now this started July 23rd and it's going to wrap up around September 4th. It goes direct. What is this about in terms of deprogramming? It is embracing and finding our divine feminine. Now, when we're coming into real touch or contact with, embracing, developing our divine feminine, this isn't just for women, this is all of us. It's in there. So it's coming to the surface. I love that. And number 3, there is a revolution really, really kicking up. So we haven't even gotten there yet. This is going to activate in full force when Pluto is fully in Aquarius. So Pluto is the wrecking ball and Capricorn is the patriarchy. So the wrecking ball is coming in to destroy the last bits of the patriarchy as it moves into Aquarius. Again, you can check out our part 1, part 2, Pluto and Aquarius sermons from a couple months ago to learn the details on that. All right. So we have that to look forward to coming up. All right. So again, I want you guys to post your questions, your comments, your prayer and healing requests, and any experiences you're having in these areas. I would love to hear about it. So the most pervasive self-abandonment areas I've noticed with myself, with friends, with family, with clients, with students are these key areas. Okay, now I'm aware that there are more. Feel free to put them in the comments. I'm just talking about my perspective as a psychic medium and a healer. Where is it coming up the most that I notice? Number 1, the patriarchy, centering toxic males. All right, well, so for men, this would look like centering toxic males. This would look like men aren't thinking for themselves. They're not willing to get in touch with their own emotions. They're toxic and abusive toward each other. They're only focusing on their bros. They're not focusing on themselves. They're not focusing on women. They're not focusing on anything else, right? They're fixated on men, right? And because of that, they're retarded in their development. Okay, what would it look like for women? Well, for women, it's really looking more like coming out of an old school transition from back when we didn't have like bank accounts, for example, right? What was that, 1970s, late 1970s? Women in America were allowed to get bank accounts. I think that's accurate. Anyways, I'm in the ballpark. Okay. So not long ago, there was a transition, let's say, from the woman being essentially enslaved into the marital system, where you got married, you lost your name, all of your finances and resources were going to come directly from that, not shared income, just his income, right? That husband. And you were essentially, trapped and unable to, buy land, buy property, do anything on your own. Well, as women have gained ground there they've slowly been able to decenter men a bit, but I don't think the real revolution in it has started happening until really recently. And that is coming from a mental and emotional place. So basically, women no longer care. Women are no longer focused on men. They're not focused on trying to get picked by a man, chosen for a position in marriage they don't want, anyways. They're realizing that the company of men is not of any value to them. They're looking more toward women. They're looking more toward their friends. They're looking more toward themselves. They're looking more toward their spiritual development. And they've already got the money stuff down pat, okay, and have moved into a power position with that a while ago. That's really what we're looking at. We're looking at men starting to decenter other men and women decentering men, okay, in general. And this is where we're going to see quick advancement in the burning down of patriarchy. All right, so let's go on to number 2, capitalism. So this is affecting anyone who isn't wealthy, all right, in the world. So all walks are really starting, especially like here in America. We have late stage capitalism. People are realizing that they're working themselves to death and for absolutely no purpose. There's no hope on being able to afford any type of a decent lifestyle. You can't purchase a property. You can't seem to even stay afloat. Heaven forbid you should have an accident where you break a bone, or you have to, get in an ambulance, or you have a medical problem, because it's a for-profit medical system, right? It's going to ruin you. And so there will be no retirement. There's basically no future, right? And people are sick and tired of working 2-3 jobs, and they can't even pay their rent. What we're seeing here is that, I think most people are looking at relocating, overseas, or they've basically dropped out of like the workforce in the traditional sense. And so capitalism is burning down as well. And this has to do with people putting the focus back on themselves, saying, no, my mental health is important. My peace and stability is important. I have to have this. What a shock that my live stream got disconnected. Let's see if it happens elsewhere. I'm not shocked. There you go. Okay, so that's how it goes. Nobody wants to, I would say this is the most protected toxic outlet, okay, that forces us into submission and under the boot, keeping us cog in the wheel in the machine forever, is that nasty capitalistic, Ferris wheel. And so people are done with it. People are realizing there's more to life. And I think that one of the big areas of deprogramming that I get excited about is people coming together and saying we can actually come into community and, live in harmony and like share, trade, barter. We can take care of one another, and we don't have to get the government, for example, like involved in everything. And I think a lot of us had these sort of fantasies, when we were younger, these idealistic sort of hippie ideas about, like living in communes or whatever. But I really do believe that things are going to be moving in that direction as capitalism burns down. So that's a fun part of it. It really is a healthier way to be. Let's look at number 3, the medical system. Medical system, especially here in America, right? A lot of other places around the world, though. I mean, I understand they're dysfunctional when there is free medical care. It's so dysfunctional, you would prefer to pay for your medical care. The medical system is another area where there's so much profit to be made off of our illness that people are waking up and deprogramming themselves to the fact that they've basically been poisoned, that they are being corrupted, that it's going to continue, and that if they want to save themselves, they better pull on out from that system. And we are, also reaching a point that I've been preaching on for the last 13 years within the medical and therapeutic communities, recognizing that when we go through spiritual development, and we're told that we have psychosis or that it's magical thinking or that we're lying, right? Or that we have some type of disorder, we need to be hospitalized or medicated, that it's just really part of the spiritual development. Okay. It's healthy, it's natural, it's part of being a spiritual creature who comes to earth having a human experience, not the other way around. And we are, more rapidly embracing our spiritual development and our intuitive intelligence, psychic, mediumistic, empathic abilities, and turning away from the psychiatric and medical communities who want to tell us that we're sick. Okay. And yeah, I think we've had enough of that as well. And I've seen amazing things from my students who decide to finally embrace their intuitive intelligence, and their spiritual awareness and gifts, if we want to call them that, instead of just feeding their misdiagnoses or their supposed disorders and the toxicity of those concepts. And you can marry both, you could do whatever you want with that information, but we need to stop abandoning the spiritual aspect of what we actually are. All right, so we see a deprogramming there in the medical system. Number 4, and then we've got one more after this, and I'm going to get to your questions and comments. Number 4 is ageism. This one is especially difficult because while I think we all suffer from it, men and women alike, we see it intensified in America and in women's lives, women and girls. And so this is an area where slow but sure, and when I say slow, I mean slow, okay, like glacial pace, snail's movement, like tortoise in the hair stuff. This is just barely moving. I just put out a video called The Fear of Aging Jurassicophobia. Okay. What is it? And so you could check that out here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. We see that it's a slow go to convince women and girls to stop centering, capitalism and men and the media and all the negativity that gets thrown at us, not just in regards to aging, but also in regards to like our weight, any kind of body dysmorphia, body acceptance, body image, love toward thyself. And I think that this is going to be another really strong foundation in what we're building in the new world as more and more people, all walks of people, but especially women and girls, embrace aging, because there's so many other topics connected to that. So the concept of, getting old and being useless, especially here in America, where elderly people are thrown away, tossed aside because they can't feed the machine of capitalism anymore. And also being considered unattractive, right? Undesirable, that sort of shunning. These are, I think, areas where there's going to be a lot of focus in the upcoming, I want to say 5 to 6 years. So I'm excited about that. And last, but certainly not least, the last area I want to talk about where we are deprogramming is in the area of colonization. Colonization, definitely not least. I would say it's possibly even the most. It's the foundation of all of this dysfunction that we see. Colonization affecting minorities of all walks the most. This has unfortunately cost us in faith, in our roots, abandoning our real belief systems. This has forced us to abandon our culture, our language, even our children. When we look at the indoctrination of our children, the Indian schools, children being taken away, if you have slavery in your family, I mean, this is the kind of pain and trauma, damage and wounds that go so deep We're not going to be turning this around anytime quickly. However, the universe is waiting with huge blessings and rewards every time we do address it, embrace it, open up our hearts to the healing from this area, and deprogram ourselves to all the toxic ways we continue to perpetuate it. And we don't even realize that we do. So that's a good place to start. And that's for everyone, not just minorities. Look at how you are feeding colonization and its continued toxicity. To keep us blind to what was actually stolen from us, and start returning it back to your life. I would say that, all of these areas are leading to a lot of, well, obviously, if you just look around, right, mental illness, mental disturbances, people who are unstable, they're unhinged, they're very angry, right? Everything's a conspiracy. They only cluster with other negative, toxic people as these systems burn down because they haven't developed themselves. They don't have a personality. They don't want to actually choose a high vibration in their life and grow and heal and contribute anything to others around them. You're going to see them cluster together more and more in those temper tantrum states, and deteriorate more and more mentally, and turn increasingly to even, escapism and avoidant tendencies like drug and alcohol abuse. But now that we are on the path to awakening, we are truly, truly in it. We're turning more toward ourselves. We're turning more toward our ancestors. And we are figuring out what our role is going to be in this revolution as individuals, right? And it's really an exciting time. And so I just encourage everyone, if you find that you have sacrificed any part of yourself to a toxic system, it's really time to get to the roots, especially with all of this astrology supporting it for the next few years. Get to the root of where that came from. And don't be shy to point the finger at family, generational curses, the society in which you live, whatever it may be. Okay. But we need to take ownership of it. Everyone has to own their own journey and experience. All right. Do we have any questions or comments coming in here? Tiffany, we lost TikTok entirely, so I guess we can rule that one out. All right. We have a comment here from an Amanda Conti. I actually dealt with my 2 children being taken. I got them back. Took me 6 years. I have 4 now. I've been healing from this and grateful for the fresh start. I'm so sorry to hear that, Amanda. And I think that's becoming more and more common too, as we see things like, the legal system going through a lot of change, more parental alienation, an increase in narcissistic and sociopathic abuse. And so we're going to be talking more and more about this type of thing in upcoming years. And I think a lot of people just aren't, because it carries so much stigma and pain with it. And what other question or comment do we have? Here's another one from Jill. Jill says, it's interesting to watch the younger generation be the catalyst to a lot of the deprogramming. I love watching the younger generation lead the way. They really don't care. And a big part of the reason they don't care, in my opinion, is that they don't see the same kind of future for themselves on this planet. And certainly they wouldn't even want to be here with things the way they currently are, with most of the societies, the government systems. If they don't see a future, they have nothing to lose. And so they have some very strong opinions that they back with action. And I think that it's also little things that they do, especially for women and girls with like the, body positivity movement. It was amazing for me to see so many younger girls like comfortable with what they're wearing, comfortable with their bodies, whether they're, they're cellulite or they're bigger, or, maybe they're really super thin, or they just are like putting it all out there. Like it does not occur to them, to have that level of shame that some of us older girls or middle-aged girls, right, have had that we would just never think of. And they are not only putting it out there like physically, and they're comfortable, more comfortable with themselves, but they openly discuss things that would have been absolutely shameful for us to talk about. Well, I never, oh my God, I mean, I think our mothers and grandmothers would have just stroked out if we would have discussed some of these things, periods and menstruation and, things our bodies, and they do not care. They do not care. Why should they be ashamed of it, right? And I think that it's in those smaller things, that are normalizing what we see and hear every day, and that's really where we needed it the most. Yeah. All right. Do we have a couple other questions or comments? Instagram. Mojo Jake, literally all the older people in my life right now. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but yeah, me too. I know. And there's nothing to do with them, but don't go down with the ship, because I always used to hate that remark. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can't teach a stubborn, old, ignorant dog new tricks. That's the bottom line. If it has the spirit of a puppy, maybe you can, but if that's how they want to go down, let them go down that way, but they're in the way at this point, and it's just time to plow over everybody. Yeah. All right. We have any other questions or comments? Another one from Amanda. Writing a book about it. Glad to hear this today. Thank you for bringing this up. Wonderful. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, the more we can discuss and get people to sort of slow down and look at this particular part of the revolution, the deprogramming phase in particular, I find affects all of us. So this is a great opportunity for us to, whether it's writing or doing videos or having discussions like this at church today, this is where we really need to be again, because up until, November of 2024, I believe it is. Yes, we're going to be seeing, Pluto moving into Aquarius. So it's time. And do we have any other questions or comments? How do I start deprogramming? This is from Yolanda. Well, I think that it's being honest. I think it's noticing over the course of the day where your triggers are, what upsets you, and how uncomfortable you feel in your skin, in your thoughts, in your emotions. And it's recognizing when it is that you're being mean to yourself. I think on a personal note, that's helped me the most, because I've got Gemini in like 7 different houses, sun, moon, rising, Venus, you name it, it's Gemini, right? So I'm all mercurial. I think, and overthink some more. And I have mentally figured out all the areas, I assume, right, that I have been programmed. And what I haven't done, what Gemini, for example, is not good at, is going through the emotional aspect of it and processing that in such a way where I allow myself to like get angry or get depressed or cry or talk about it, because I want to go. I want to think about it, and then I want to find ways to fix it, and then I want to get out of it, and I want to move on to something better, But I think that if we can take more time to notice our feelings, especially in regards to the way we bully ourselves, that's really going to hit home for you. And we've got to do that emotional detoxing to really get to that place of evolution ultimately. And so pay attention to where you push yourself a little harder, where you tell yourself, one more task, where you really need or want something, even if it's just something simple like taking a break in the middle of the day, and you say, once you earn it, okay, or later, or get this priority taken care of, or else you won't enjoy it. No, damn it, I will do it now, and I will enjoy it, and I may even do it for the rest of the day. I may put all this other stuff on. You know what I mean? You have to learn to see how you have adopted the toxicity and how you now abuse yourself, through that programming. And little by little, feed that inner child, little by little, love yourself, do the self-care, absolutely refuse to be dragged down by the negative energy out there, and it's really just dancing to the beat of your own drum and being happy, unapologetically and in spite of it all, Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, just a reminder, if you guys haven't already done so, post your prayer and healing requests, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe, and donations are appreciated. Edgar says, what's a good way to start bringing up empathic ability concept to people at work or with family? I think people are becoming more and more open to the concept of empathic ability. When I started, I had every door in the public schools and the colleges slammed in my face. These days, universities want it, school systems want it, teachers are getting credits, therapists come to me, doctors come to me, It was a long, dirty journey. But I think what really tipped the scales in empathic training was when it became very popular and it became sort of like a hot topic, a key word of like gifted potential, but back before this, everybody wanted to identify as being native in some way, indigenous in some way. Well, now it's everybody wants to be empathic in some way, right? And I think it was that. I think it was the way it sort of blazed through social media, and it became really popular, so that quirky empathic tendency that people had was something really more honorable, than weird. And I think that this is a good time if you're going to be bringing it up. Family, I can't guarantee what your family is going to say, especially if they're old school, right? I'm not sure about that. However, the angle you can take with family is that empathic ability is hereditary. So if it's in the bloodline, you're going to have people in your family who were tremendous healers, and you're going to have people in your family who were empathic and they were alcoholics. They had mental illnesses, they had maybe drug abuse and things like this. So that's sort of the lower level of empathic ability when they weren't handling it. Then you got the higher level, right? These tremendous healers in the family who were incredibly intuitive as well. So you could take that angle. But I think that when we're talking about the therapeutic field, or you said that, at work, if you're in like the medical community, for example, it's something that people are looking at more and more. And I think that as long as you come from a factual place about it, not an airy fairy ridiculous place, people will be more open to hearing about it, because energy absorption is undeniable. And, the way we see the meltdowns and the deterioration is something educators, doctors, therapists alike have been more interested in the last 10 years. If they want to make more of this, they better be more open to that, All right, we have any other questions or comments coming in? Edgar says, I think there's so many empaths at my job, especially with clients, but hard to talk about in a mental health field. Yeah. Right. Well, and I have, the first time a physician ever came to me, he said, I came to visit you because I have some, patients that you helped that I've not been able to help for years. And he said, what is it that you're doing here? And I told him what I do with my empathic awareness training. And he said, you're saying what we're not allowed to say. And that is, energy that goes in must go back out. And I was like, yeah, only I disagree that you can't be saying it. You're choosing not to say it. Nobody wants to rock the boat. So Edgar, be the one to rock the boat. Look, if we don't just start doing it, it's never going to happen, right? Somebody's got to do it. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? We are at time. Tiffany, can we all give Tiffany a hand, our brand new producer? I think she did an excellent job. Jill, thank you for shadowing. Spirit, always, thank you for the great sermon topics, and thank you everybody for being here. I will see you. Our next Roots Revival Interfaith service is September 17th. I will be back here with Reverend Christina Del Rey, our astrologer, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, if you guys need to book a reading with me, you can go to ivrivera.psychicmedium.com. I'll see everybody soon. Thanks so much.